Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
Good morning, everybody.
Writer, director, producer, Robert Meyer-Burnett.
John, I've been running around with my hands flying, outstretched.
For good reason.
I don't know what that means, but I'm doing it.
Oh, for good reason. And most importantly, of course, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. And here's how our show's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a number of predetermined topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show, well, that's when we take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, question, or an issue you'd like us to discuss, as long as we deem it appropriate to be discussed on our show, we do reserve the right not to answer something if we don't think it's appropriate. Go ahead and fire it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. Now, the good news about this tip link is that it's actually good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you're listening to this show on a podcast feed, either on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or your favorite podcasting app of choice, or if you're watching this show a little bit later in the day, when we're not live, you can still send in a question. And even if you send one in when we're not live, we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. All right, guys. With that down, let's get things started with this, shall we? One of the films that they presented to us at CinemaCon that really blew our minds, that we just loved, was the trailer for Weapons. Now, of course, we've heard some early reactions that were all pretty good for Weapons. Well, the full review embargo is now up pretty early for that. And a number of high-profile outlets have already been putting in their reviews. And as of right now, and I'm sure this will change, but as of this recording, Weapons is holding a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes as we speak and as we do this. Now, it's only about 13 reviews that are in, but they're all from pretty significant places. Let's go over some of them here. IGN Movies wrote, a righteous, fully actualized genre bending in which writer-director Zach Kreger hones Barbarian's blend, of course, because he was the guy who did Barbarian, blend of unbearable tension and dark humor to a new level of razor sharpness. Dextro write, Weapons does everything a good horror movie should. It grips, confounds, terrifies, and provokes in equal measure, while also managing to entertain for every second of its runtime. Inverse wrote, Weapons is as haunting and cerebral as it is almost cartoonishly funny, producing a cocktail of emotions nearly as disarming as the film itself. Exclaim wrote, beneath the visceral moments of violence and the gory imagery, writer-director Zach Kreger offers up a film that speaks to the dangers of groupthink and the hive mind, especially as pertains to young people. Geeks of Color wrote, overall, Weapons is a great time at the cinema and a well-made horror film. Cinema Blend writes, it's intimate while also being epic. It's scary while expertly utilizing humor as punctuation, and even the most dedicated cinephiles will be rocked by its surprises. And it just goes on. Rob, I know when we saw the preview for this at CinemaCon, you immediately proclaimed, Barbarian aside, you immediately proclaimed to me that is going to be one of my most anticipated films of the year. And you've been hyperly excited about this film. We got some first reactions that sounded good. Full reviews are now coming out. They sound outstanding. What do you think about the reviews we're hearing? Is there anything standing out to you in particular? And where's your anticipation level right now for the movie?
So IGN did a video review for Weapons on YouTube. And one of the lines in that review was, the movie is Russian roulette for the senses. And I was thinking to myself, wow, that is a great line. You know,
that is a great line.
If I were to ever make a movie where somebody gave me that, first of all, that would be the top blurb that would be on my key art, my one sheet. But, you know, I read a earlier draft of the script of this movie, and it was wild. Like, and I've heard that Zach Kreger has said that when he sat down to write this movie, he didn't really have a plan. He kind of, and that's kind of how I get where he got that, because a lot of times Stephen King would talk about sitting down and writing a story and not knowing where it was going to take him. People forget, like, The Green Mile that King wrote was released as individual, like, short paperbacks when it originally came out, and he didn't know where it was going. And I think sometimes I wouldn't recommend screenwriters take that on as a rule. But a guy like Zach Kreger I think he has a singular talent. He came out of the talent world and he came out of the comedy world. And so I think he's a really talented guy. And I read the script for Barbarian before I saw it as well. And I thought the movie was a great realization of that script. But from what I've seen, the movie has turned out to be even better than the screenplay was. And when people are saying they're equating it to Magnolia. Well,
right, I remember that comparison. Yeah.
What the trailer we saw at CinemaCon was terrifying, but what got me is that clip. I asked you if you saw the clip, and you said you did. It's
at
just
the gas station.
Yeah, it's just Josh Brolin confronting Julia Garner at the gas station. But then something happens. The camera work in that scene, the floating, moving, steady cam, the intensity of that. There's nothing when you're making a horror film. How you move a camera. Horror movies are all about, because the camera is going to take the audience where they don't want to go. Mm-hmm. It's going to move places where the audience doesn't want to go to. It's going to move into characters you don't want to see hurt. And if you know how to wield a moving camera when you're making a horror film, that's half the battle.
Because many don't.
Many try and it many drives fail. Me crazy. Yeah. Horror movies are all about moving that camera. And when I saw that scene, I already was in 100%. I was in 110%. But that just little scene, I'm like, all right, this man knows what he's doing. And just the way it was, the cuts and the intensity of it and the way they play it out. I'm like, I want to see a whole movie like this. And I get to next week. And I'm very excited. I'm so excited for this movie. All I've ever seen. And I finally have just, again, with the releasing of clips, man, Fantastic Four did it. Now Weapons is doing it. I can't resist because I'm weak. I want to see these things. I want to see them. So I watch them. I wish they didn't release. If this is going to be the new thing, I'm going to have to leave the internet, man, because I can't resist.
That's another topic we should maybe bring up sometime. Not right now, but the topic of, are just releasing clips more effective than releasing trailers now? I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying we've seen a couple of examples now, like Weapons. Fantastic Four was far more effective with its clips rather than its trailers.
My only problem is that clip is as long as a trailer. It's almost 2 minutes.
Yes.
And when you're releasing that, you're not just showing us imagery, you're showing us a scene. So what you've done is you've completely spoiled that particular moment within the film if you've seen the clip. But the flip side is, who wouldn't want to see the whole movie after watching that clip?
Yeah, that's the purpose of it, right? Is to get you into the chairs. Anyway, guys, question is for you. The reviews are now coming out for Weapons, the full reviews. And as of right now, I don't expect that it will hold it, but as of this moment, it's got 100% from some pretty major outlets, and they're all loving it. I can't wait to see it next week. Whatever you guys think about these reviews, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's talk about this, shall we? It's not often that when a television series, say, hits its 5th, 6th, or 7th year, something like that, that it starts hitting record highs in its viewership. Usually a show peaks out by around a certain time, and then it can maintain and maybe drop a little bit, but still have good enough ratings to stick around. Well, South Park, of course, had its season debut last week.
And which season is it?
Season 27, I believe.
Yes.
Season 27, according to Deadline, has just had its biggest ratings numbers for a debut in 26 years. The Deadline, the article goes on to write this. It says, it noted that the episode scored its biggest season premiere on the cable network since 1999. 26 years. 2 years after its debut. And get this, its debut numbers last week were up 68% from last year's season premiere. Per Nelson, it landed a 9.2 compared to the 5.4, which they celebrated the 5.4 last year as a significant and good number for them. But it landed a 9.2 rating compared to the 5.48 scored by the season 26 opener. Now, of course, we talked about this the other day, that the nature of how they make South Park, the fact that they've pushed off episode 2 from yesterday to next week, we have no proof of this, but our theory is that they just decided to really go double hard and double down on everything and go even harder. But that is what it is. This is a little bit of television history. You don't often, well, first of all, you can count probably on one hand, not including shows that are news programs that have lasted more than 20 years. I mean, what do you got? You got The Simpsons. You got South Park. I mean, what else? But like how
Survivor.
Yeah, but that's not even one a year, is it?
I don't know.
I don't even know how they do that. It's not often you get shows that are past their, say, 12th year or whatever that will suddenly see these massive ratings things, spikes. So, I mean, good for them. This is an extreme rarity that we ever see in television history. So good on them for that. Anyway, Rob, you're seeing these ridiculous numbers. What do you think about this? What stands out to you?
Well, it just shows that those boys, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, can bottle the zeitgeist like no other people. I mean, what has made, I think, South Park so successful is they're commenting on, especially the rise of South Park mirrored the rise of social media as well.
Yeah, it really did.
You know, and the fact is that they can take a social media trend that is brand new and comment on it. You know, within, like you pointed out yesterday, within a week or two of something hitting, they're right on that. And because of their production pipeline is a week.
Yeah.
You know, and the way they make that show puts them in probably the most unique position of any television creators in history, in that they can comment on what everybody's reading on the internet right then. And no one else can do that. And they're also, coupled with their sense of humor, there are no sacred cows. There are no third rails that they won't touch. They'll touch anything and everything.
And by the way, to your point, like, while the focus of last week's episode was Donald Trump, there was a lot in there to rub everyone the wrong way.
Oh, yeah.
They put a lot in there to rub everybody the wrong way.
I think that's what they do best. I mean, we live in this weird time when everybody thinks that this performance activism and everybody's looking for aggression and meanness, and South Park's like, y'all are ridiculous. And we're going to show you how the modern age is just to be laughed at. They're bemused by everything. And I love that. I think if they, while other people are not allowing humor to flourish, South Park's like, hold my beer. I mean, they will go after everyone.
Well, I remember Trey Parker once famously said, and I think this was during the, I forget the name of the actor who did Chef. I remember around the whole time.
Oh, Isaac Hayes.
Isaac Hayes, right. When Isaac Hayes was leaving over, this stuff, I remember they made this quote that has always stuck with me. And others have always felt this way, but just the way they worded it stuck out to me. And they said, we really believe that you can either laugh at everything or you can't laugh at anything. And while I think even they would say there are asterisks to that, I think that's generally true. We've got to all be able to laugh at ourselves. And somehow, some way, I saw somebody in the live chat mentioned South Park has been able to maintain its cultural relevance even when shows like The Simpsons haven't.
Right.
I mean, Simpsons' place in the all-time pantheon is very, very secure, but they're not nearly as relevant today as they used to be, whereas South Park somehow, every once in a while, finds a way to completely put itself right in the center of the pop cultural conversation again.
I think Trey Parker and Matt Stone they probably get up every morning and devour as much material as they can, whether it's on YouTube. I mean, talk about a time, if you're them, every TikTok video, every YouTube video, every commentary, we live in a world where all they're given every single morning is comedy fodder to make fun of.
They're just given material.
Oh my God. And they're like, and they take it. Nothing. It's great. I admire the hell out of those guys.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? For South Park, according to Deadline, its biggest season debut in 26 years. Pretty impressive numbers for them. Whatever stood out to you the most in that story, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to a story here I think Robert Meyer Burnett's going to like.
Uh-oh.
Now, you guys may or may not know, one of Robert's all-time favorite movies is The Social Network.
So good.
And they've been talking for a while that they want to do a second one. As a matter of fact, the original writer's coming back to do it again. And now it looks like we just might know who are going to be the two stars of the movie. Because in a report in Deadline, they're saying current reigning Academy Award winner for Best Actress, Mikey Madison, and reigning Emmy Award winner, Jeremy Allen White, are apparently the studio's choices to play the two lead roles in the upcoming Social Network 2. This is what the report says. Following the news that a Social Network sequel may finally be moving forward, Aaron Sorkin may already have his sights set on the two rising stars to lead the follow-up to his Oscar-winning movie. While various elements are still being worked out, including a budget, sources say that Sorkin's top choices to star in The Social Network Part 2 are Oscar winner Mikey Madison and Emmy Award winner Jeremy Allen White. Insiders stress that no formal offers have been given to either actor, but it is clear these are his picks to star in the film once those hurdles are overcome. Sony Pictures, who is distributing the film, had no comment. All right. Number one, let's just start with the bigger picture of this, which is the fact that they're doing a Social Network, a second one. The first one was great, not just as how that whole thing got started and the social implications and, the various analogies that came out of it. It's a brilliant film.
Yeah.
The whole notion about how, since that point, Facebook has gone on to be at the center of a lot of social discussion, privacy, like all that kind of stuff, like how it endangers youth, according to some people, how it, like all this kind of stuff, it's become like a whole nother thing. And what are the treaties and responsibilities that come along when something like that, you have a juggernaut like that moving through the social sphere. So there's that. I love the fact that they're doing another one, and I wouldn't have any of it if it wasn't Aaron Sorkin doing it. Arguably maybe the greatest screenwriter of our generation. So there's that. As far as cast goes, can you get any better? Like, depending on what the roles are and that sort of thing and how they're going to be written. But like Mikey Madison blew my mind last year. Like absolutely blew my mind in Anora. I haven't seen like an actress just sort of jump off the screen like that, the way she did it, the emotional range she showed in it, absolutely incredible. And then Jeremy Allen White is just Jeremy Allen White. He's a prolific award-winning actor at this point. I can't wait to see him in that Bruce Springsteen biopic because I know he's going to kill it. He already looks really good just in the trailers. I loved him in the Iron Claw. I loved him in that, which was a completely different character for him. So
that Christmas morning, it was such a uplifting movie for Christmas.
Yeah, not exactly the feel-good movie of the year. Not something you want to sit around on a Christmas morning like you're saying with your family.
But I did.
But nonetheless, very good. And anyway, Rob, I don't personally know a bigger fan of The Social Network than you. So I got to ask, what do you think about this potential casting?
I think it's great. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Aaron Sorkin, and when he started directing, like, I love Molly's Game, which he wrote and directed, which is based on that book that Molly herself wrote. What I think he's great at, and why I love The Social Network so much, is The Social Network is not just a movie about the origins of Facebook, but it was really a movie about friendship and a movie about, you meet in college and what happens when people start working together and they create success and all the things that, so there's this interpersonal story, and then there's also the larger meta narrative about what happened with Facebook, and we all knew where it was going to wind up. And what's funny about, like you pointed out just now, that movie came out in what, 2009, 2010?
Oh God.
We're 15 years beyond that. And Facebook went from, I remember the ad campaign, you don't get to 500,000 friends without making a few enemies.
Yeah.
I just had it up,
that was a great tagline.
It was a great tagline, but now look where Facebook went. Now it's Meta, and now Meta's stock is up, and Meta's working in bought Oculus and VR, and what does this all mean? So there's so much that the social network was one thing, but to be able to chart, even in a fictionalized context, it's kind of like South Park. Aaron Sorkin is making these incredible mythic stories about what's happening in our culture right now. So you've got the interpersonal human story, but then you have the greater narrative about what's happening in our culture and the impact of it all. I mean, I could see this, if there's 3 of them, it could be one of the great trilogies of all time based on wherever our society, our civilization is going to go, because we have AI on the horizon.
Yeah.
And where's that going to take us? So I am very excited about this. I'm very excited Sorkin's directing this. I think this is great casting. And I think that we're going to get something really, really special out of this movie.
Just like about an hour ago, also Variety reported that Mark Strong is the top choice to play Zuckerberg.
Well, bring this up on my screen right now, actually. They're just put this out that he's their top choice to play Mark Zuckerberg.
I love it.
In the role of Social Network Part 2, which seems a little old to play Zuckerberg, but you can play it younger, I suppose.
I mean, Jeremy Allen White could play Zuckerberg.
I mean, that's what I assume.
That's what, yeah.
I assume, but maybe it's a different character altogether that he's looking at.
Do we know when this is supposed to take place? Because maybe it's more contemporary. I mean,
Zuckerberg was at Harvard. You know, he dropped out of Harvard in the early 2000s, so he's not that old. I guess Jeremy Strong. Look, anybody who was in The Big Short can do no wrong. and Jeremy Strong was Steve Carell's right-hand man in The Big Short. I love Jeremy Strong. I'll watch him in anything.
You know what he was really great in? The Gentleman.
Oh,
he was so good in The Gentleman. That little weasel.
So good. And he was great in the Trump movie playing Roy Cohn.
Yep. He's only 5 years older than Zuckerberg.
Okay.
Oh, well, then there you go.
And Zuck is
that's
41.
within range.
There you
5
go.
years is definitely within range.
Yeah, it can be done then.
All right, well, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Award winners, Jeremy Allen White, the reigning defending best actress in the world, Madison, and Jeremy Strong, maybe as a Mark Zuckerberg. What do you think of this? This is actually coming together really nice, if any of it happens. Again, need to emphasize what it said in Deadline, that none of this is signed, none of this is done, but it looks like the direction they're going. What stands out to you about it? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.
Now I want to listen to Hand Covers Bruise.
Yeah, I was going to say, the big thing
Trent
is, are they going to get
Reznor,
an Atticus Ross?
Yep.
Are they going to come back they have to come back and score.
All right, guys, listen, we've got a number of other topics that we're going to cover here today, including, we're getting movies, including the new Bad Guys 2, ending their credits with AI warning saying, you use this movie to train your AI, you're going to get sued. Also, we talked the other day about Henry Cavill. Who could he play in the DCU? We thought we'd actually formalize and actually do a topic and have a real discussion about some characters we think we could see Henry Cavill coming and playing in the new DCU. And James Gunn just responded to somebody in social media, apparently confirming he's already working on Superman 2 and writing the script right now. We're going to talk about that and a few things more. But before we do, there's a bunch of other smaller stories going on in the world of entertainment that we want to make sure you're caught up on. And we're going to do that in this little segment we call the Movie News Feed. First up, Lily James is set to co-star with Chris Hemsworth in the submarine thriller Subversion, which is being developed by Amazon MGM Studios. Hemsworth's got a couple of projects coming with them. The film, directed by Patrick Volrath and written by Andrew Ferguson, is described as Die Hard on a submarine. The plot follows a blackmailed naval commander, played by Hemsworth, who is forced to pilot a submarine with illegal cargo, while a Coast Guard officer, played by Lily James, pursues him. Production is scheduled to begin in September in Australia. Next up, there's been some speculation that director James Cameron may be passing off the directorial duties of Avatars 4 and 5 to another director, but apparently that's not so, because James Cameron has confirmed in an interview with Empire Magazine that he intends to direct both Avatar 4 and 5 himself. Now at 71 years old, Cameron stated that he is healthy and good to go, but acknowledges that the intensive workload for another 6 to 7 years could be a challenge. Now, the third film in the series, Avatar Fire and Ash, is scheduled to come out this December, on December 19th, 2025, with Avatar 4 and 5 currently slated for release in 2029 and 2031, respectively. Now remember, on top of the Avatar films, we just announced that he's doing this project called The Devils. He says he wants to do another Terminator. He says he wants to do an animated Avatar series. I just don't know how he's going to do all this stuff. Next up, a judge has dismissed Alec Baldwin's misconduct lawsuit against New Mexico authorities, which he filed after his involuntary manslaughter charge was dropped in the Fatal Rush shooting. Now, the dismissal of the case is actually Alec Baldwin's own choice. You see, the dismissal, which was without prejudice, was due to Baldwin's legal team failing to actively pursue the case. That's because, according to Baldwin's attorney, the team has been in quote-unquote good faith settlement discussions with the parties and plans to refile the lawsuit if a resolution is not reached. You guys probably remember the original criminal case against Baldwin for the death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins was dismissed last year after a judge ruled that the state had improperly withheld evidence from the defense. Next up, Jason Momoa has shaved his signature beard for the first time in 6 years to reprise his role as Duncan Idaho in the upcoming film Dune Part 3. In an Instagram video, Momoa, a native of Hawaii, is seen shaving his beard and jokingly states, "God damn it, I hate it," before adding, "Only for you, Denis," referring to director Denis Villeneuve. Now, you're not imagining things. His character was killed in the first Dune film, but he's expected to return as a clone in the third. The movie will also feature Jason Momoa's son, Nakoa Wolf Momoa, and he is currently in production and is scheduled to come out in December of 2026. Next up, Bradley Cooper's third directorial feature, a comedy titled Is This Thing On, is set to have its world premiere as the closing night film of the 63rd New York Film Festival on October 10th. The movie, which also stars Will Arnett and Laura Dern, is inspired by the true story of comedian John Bishop. Arnett's character, Alex, a man in the midst of a divorce, decides to reinvent himself as a stand-up comedian in New York City. The screenplay was co-written by Cooper, Arnett, and Mark Chappell. I'm really looking forward to this one, not just because the cast is great, but the last two films that Bradley Cooper's directed, A Star is Born and Maestro, were both incredibly good. And finally, Topher Grace has been cast in the upcoming horror thriller called Buddy, joining Penguin breakout star Kristen Milioti. The movie, which is directed by Casper Kelly, the creator of the viral short Too Many Cooks, is described as a unique horror thriller. And that'll do it for today's movie news feed. And thank you for taking in some of our little news bits in our movie news feed. And by the way, guys, please do let us know what you think about that little segment. We've just been experimenting with it this week, and let us know if you think it's worth having on the show. All right, guys, with that down, let's get on to this, shall we? You know, we are living in the age of AI, but AI can only be AI when you feed it lots and lots of material. For it to train itself. And there's been a lot of stuff in the news lately about authors being pissed off that their works and their books are being used. News outlets are even starting to get pissed off, saying that some of these companies are illegally strip mining their news articles, using it to train their AI. People are getting angry that their voices are being used to train AI. Well, of course, one of the other things AI is being trained on is movies. And somebody picked up something at a screening of the new animated film, The Bad Guys 2. This comes to us from IGN, where a user by the name of Randy Jones writes, the end credits of Bad Guys 2 said, "Screw AI." He's paraphrasing. Said, "Screw AI, try stealing our work. It'll be a crime to your artless ass." I must say to this is, all I say to this is, say that shit, your whole chest, DreamWorks Animation, speak on it. So here's the thing in question. At the end of the credits, it says, all rights in this work are reserved for purposes of laws in all jurisdictions pertaining to data mining or AI training, including but not limited to Article 4.3 of Directive EU, blah, blah, blah. Last line, this work may not be used to train AI. Now, I believe, I could be wrong about this, but I believe I heard that How to Train Your Dragon may have also put that on the end credit. I'm not sure. I don't remember that myself, but I believe I heard somebody say that at some point. So here's the question. How big of a deal is this becoming to a lot of these larger media networks? Now, Rob, I remember we did a story on this a while ago where a court ruled that anything you make in AI, there are obviously going to be exceptions, but generally speaking, things you make in AI cannot be copywritten, which takes away a lot of the opportunity for some of these studios or places to create something in AI if you're not allowed to copyright it. Like, you can make a movie and it makes $1 billion, but if everybody else can just come along and use it, then you're screwed. So there's that as well. But how significant is it now that you think that studios are now actually putting at the end of their credits, oh, by the way, you're not allowed to use this to train your AI system? How significant is that for our culture right now?
Well, I mean, look, the onslaught of AI is inevitable. And you can say that we don't want to use that. You can't use this movie to train AI, but can you prove it? I mean, until a court case is brought up against someone, and there are court cases about their news organizations that are fighting this right now. I mean, it's going to be hard to prove, especially because
there are data trails that
there's
are
coding.
being used in current cases right now.
Sure. There are, but I think, look, when quantum computing comes online, it's going to be really hard to prove that. I mean, you're basically, AI is eventually going to use all of human endeavor, all art,
And then
all
it's gonna
literature,
turn on
all
weapons.
music. Yeah, and they'll be curious to see what's going to happen. I mean, can you imagine if AI is going to develop sentience and it's going to be alive essentially, and it learned from social media for the last 20 years? I mean, it's going to be a crazy schizophrenic psychopathic serial killer.
I mean, it'll either be
I mean, it's just, or maybe it'll say, let's not be that way.
yeah,
You
it'll
know?
either be
Look
like
what happened with Gronk. Remember what happened with Gronk? The AI
yeah.
Gronk, just from scouring a little bit of net or of Twitter, and you saw what turned into. And like any sentient AI that learns from the online behaviors of human beings is going to be an awful individual.
Yeah, unless it looks at both sides and makes certain value judgments. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen. But look, I understand the idea to protect your IP is important, because in the age of AI, owning an underlying IP, like whatever that is, like Star Wars. If you own Star Wars and people are going to start, and it's very easy to generate, say, a whole Star Wars movie out of AI. Well, you still own Star Wars. So anything that's in that movie, even though it was AI generated, still belongs to the Star Wars IP. So having the rights locked up for Star Wars and having the rights locked up for the bad guys, that's going to be the ticket. Because then you still can't, if you own Star Wars or you own Marvel or whatever, and people start, you can still go after them. Now, it might be really easy. You might be able to push a button and generate an Avengers movie overnight. But if you don't own the underlying rights to those characters or that IP, it's still protected. That's going to be the problem, is going after all those people. But owning IPs is still going to be king, I think. So that's important.
Yeah, one of the things that is being fought out in court right now is that, and you've seen there's a couple of AI companies that have already built it into their system that, for instance, I can't say, generate me a picture of Christopher Reeve taking a walk in Paris on a Sunday. Well, it's like, it'll say, we can't do that. Like,
Right.
So, but there are others you can, many others that you very least can. And there's some court cases going on right now that are trying to make it so that it would be illegal for AI to even be able to generate the likeness of somebody or the work of somebody, whether that's going to pass or not. I mean, this is all, with a lot of legal issues, you have a century of precedent to go through and really look at and determine what, but this is all brand new ground for everybody. And it's going to be interesting to see how all this kind of shakes out. But for now, it's just really interesting that we actually have now movies putting this right in their credits saying, you are not allowed to use this work to train your AI.
Yeah, we just don't. I think people have very little understanding of how the world is going to be irrevocably changed over the next 5 and 10 years.
Yeah, I agree.
It's going to be a very, very different place.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? And how big of a problem do you think this can actually become? We've now got studios putting it right in their credits. Don't use this work to train AI. Is that just swatting at flies in the wind and it's not really going to accomplish anything? Or is it something definitive? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's go on and talk about this, shall we? You know, the other day, we got on talking about Henry Cavill, and it's kind of as a side rabbit trail. We started talking about who we could see maybe Henry Cavill playing in the new DCU. Because remember, James Gunn, who just did an interview recently where he really clarified a lot of the stuff about how everything with Henry Cavill went down and how James Gunn didn't mention names, but everybody online is kind of guessing who it might have been, and it rhymes with the cock. Where James Gunn kind of implied that, like, on the day they always knew they were going to move on and create a new cinematic universe, and the day they got announced as the new co-CEOs, somebody else who shall remain nameless let it leak out that Henry Cavill is coming back as Superman, and Henry Cavill's going to be in Black Adam, and we're going to make more movies with Henry Cavill, and that's what they told Henry Cavill too. And James Gunn was like, we need to sit down and talk with Henry Cavill personally because somebody is screwing him over. and we shouldn't just get on the phone with him. We should sit down. But ever since then, James Gunn's always said, I really would love to work with Henry Cavill. They said he's the sweetest guy and the nicest guy in the world, and I would love to work with him. So we went off on this rabbit trail the other day about, well, who could we see Henry Cavill playing? I mean, I don't want to see him playing anybody too close to Superman because that's just too much of a shtick, too much. Like, again, some people thought going into Superman that maybe Henry Cavill was going to be Ultraman. And it's like, would be way too much of a shtick. That would be so distracting to the film. But who could he play? So both Rob and I, we might have some overlap. I don't know. We're going to list off for you 5 characters that we could really see him playing and playing very, very well for different reasons. And I'm going to start off my list in no particular order, by the way. But I'm going to start off my list with Hawkman. And when you see Hawkman, I don't know what, if any, plans that Peter Safran and James Gunn have for Hawkman in the universe. They might say, no, Hawk Girl is going to be our Hawk person in the universe. We're not going to have a Hawkman, maybe. But that being said, I think a character like Hawkman, number one, you got to have a guy who can pull off the physique, which obviously Henry Cavill can. Somebody who can play kind of an intensity and a rage, which I think Henry Cavill can.
I mean, that image you just had up looks just like Henry Cavill.
I mean, in many, it kind of looks like, yeah, if you told me that was modeled after Henry Cavill with that mask on,
yeah,
totally buy it. I think this is a guy that Henry Cavill could bring a lot of depth to, and I think would be a lot of fun seeing him play. So Hawkman is, again, no particular order, but the first one I'll bring up is Hawkman. The next one I want to bring up might be a little out there, or maybe way out there if you want to talk literally. Orion, the son of of Darkseid, raised by Darkseid's mortal enemy, the High Father, and incredibly powerful.
I don't think this is out there. I love this idea.
And a really fascinating character. And I think and this is the type of character, by the way, that I could totally see James Gunn using in his cinematic universe.
Oh yeah, the whole
all the New Gods.
They're going to do a Mr. Miracle animated series, so why not do the rest of the New Gods?
So if you're going to bring in the New Gods anyway, I think Orion is one of these characters I think Henry Cavill honestly would be kind of the first name that would come to my mind to play him anyway if they said they were going to use him. So I think Orion is one they could add. Some people are saying no, he needs to be an ugly guy. No character needs to be anything we've seen that proved out, just like saying Wolverine needed to be a short guy. Anyway, the third name I want to throw out there. Now, this will be the most unexpected, I think, the one I'm going to throw out, but follow me. Ra's al Ghul. You can easily age up Henry Cavill a little bit. You can. That menacing intensity, and again, you're going to need somebody who can really act. If you do bring in a Ra's al Ghul into this universe, you want somebody who could be almost like a Shakespearean player. And oh gosh, who's done Shakespeare? Oh, I know, Henry Cavill. I think there's the guy who could bring that kind of intensity and whatever to it, and actually come across as being a physical threat to Batman. Not just an intellectual threat, but also somebody who could be a physical threat to Batman. I think Ra's al Ghul could be one of them. So I'm going to throw that. And again, I acknowledge that's probably the most way out there in left field one that he could have, but I'm going to bring that one in. All right. The fourth one I want to mention is Oliver Queen, aka Green Arrow. Now, here's why I like this.
I love this idea.
I think he's the guy who could play the suave debonair, the playboy, trust fund kid, junkie sort of thing. But this is why this name jumps out to me. In the comics, there is a very special relationship between Green Lantern and Green Arrow. They have a real bond, the two of them. When you're talking about, and specifically when I say Green Arrow, I mean Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan and Oliver Queen have a really special, a relationship that culminated in the Parallax storyline in the comics, where ultimately it was Oliver who had to take out his own friend. Anyway, that being said, when you look at Lanterns, they went with an older actor to play Hal. Now, while my boy Henry is not older. He's in his 40s now. And I think you got him, you get Mr. Friday Night Lights. I could totally buy those two having a shorthand and coming across as having a really deep friendship bond and all that kind of stuff. And those guys as Hal and Oliver, I think would be fantastic. So I think he would make a great Oliver Queen. I really do. All right. The last one, I'm embarrassed to say this is the last one because and many reasons I've said before, I don't think Henry Cavill should play this. Not that I don't think he wouldn't be awesome, but he played Superman. I don't think he should also play Batman. But I'm going to tell you why a bunch of reasons have forced me, if you will, to put Batman on my list here. All right. You should get an actor, I think, that can definitely pull off the millionaire playboy Bruce Wayne, have those charming magazine cover good looks, but also have the pure physical presence of Batman, and be an actor of a skill level that can pull them both off. There are not many actors, Rob, I'll say on the planet right now, that have Henry Cavill's magazine cover good looks, Mr. Universe-like kind of physique, and that level of acting ability. I'm not saying Henry Cavill's the best actor on the planet, but I'm saying I don't think we can name 5 other actors who have that combination of playboy good looks, remarkably stupid good physique, and is that caliber of an actor all in one package. Henry Cavill's that guy. Henry Cavill can play Bruce Wayne. Henry Cavill could play Batman. I have no doubt. And plus, with all the combat training he's doing right now for the Highlander, which is like when you heard Stahelski talk about the combat training that Henry is doing right now, he said he's not just learning one style of swordsmanship. He's learning like 8 and 9 different types of combat throughout history. Isn't that Batman? Isn't that what a young Bruce Wayne did when he traveled the world and like learned every form of combat there is and all that kind of stuff? So and on top of all that, he's the right age. This is a Batman that already has probably a young teenage son. He's the right age to play it. So when you look at, can he pull off Bruce Wayne? How many guys have the Bruce Wayne good looks? Can he pull off Batman? Absolutely he can. Does he bring the physique? Because listen, Ben Affleck, he's been my favorite Batman, but we haven't had a Batman that's had Batman's physique yet. All due respect to Christian Bale, all due respect to Ben Affleck, all due respect to Michael Keaton, we haven't had a Batman that's had a Batman physique yet. We would have that. You need to have an actor who can have all that and be a super high level caliber actor. Henry Cavill is, and he's the right age. So while I don't want to say Batman is one of them because he's played Superman, it's too much in the stick for him not to be Batman. There's just a lot that goes for it. So that's why I'm putting Batman on my list. So once again, my list includes Hawkman, Orion, Ra's al Ghul, Oliver Queen, and of course, Batman. But again, there's a lot of arguments to be made against the Batman thing. I just think there's some really strong arguments for it. Anyway, Rob, we were talking about this just yesterday. Now that you've had some time to have it marinate in your Robservatory brain for a bit, who are some characters, 5 particularly, that you could see Henry Cavill playing in James Gunn's DCU?
I'm going to give you 3 characters that are similar to Superman.
Okay.
That are in the DC universe that I particularly love. One is the Legion of Superheroes Mon-El, who has ties to Superman. But Mon-El, you could say from the 30th century, but you could play around with that. I love Mon-El. Apollo, they've already got the engineer. If they're going to bring the rest of the Authority in, they were going to make an Authority movie. So yes, is Apollo and Midnighter gay? Sure. They're like the world's finest of the Authority. But Apollo is a very Superman-esque, very powerful character.
Yeah, and we were talking about that before the show started.
Yeah, I love
the Apollo idea.
I love the Apollo idea. And the third one, and this is a little wacky, but it's a favorite character of mine who's always been in the Justice League, is the android, the Red Tornado.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Captain Atom.
No.
But Red Tornado's an interesting
Although
one.
Captain Atom is another great character that he could play, very Silver Surfer-esque. But I've always loved Red Tornado since I was a little kid. But what I really want, so there's 3. But what I really want to do, I want to see him play a bad guy. I just keep thinking about Fallout. When he went full on, he was revealed to be a villain. There's a great character in the DC universe, an immortal named Vandal Savage.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he could absolutely pull off. You talk about Ra's al Ghul, Vandal Savage. I think he could go for. I talked about him being Brother Blood. We also talked about him being Deathstroke, the Terminator, which I think would be great. But again, if you wanted to go up, you would have to do it as motion capture. But there's a Superman villain that's kind of like Thanos called Mongol.
Yep.
Who's the leader of Warworld. And that's where Superman has fought, for Mongol's pleasure. Or there is one of my favorite Superman stories called "What Do You Get the Man That Has Everything?" that Alan Moore wrote, where Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, they go to the Fortress of Solitude. I don't want to ruin it, but they find Superman sort of incapacitated. And Mongol's a part of the story. It's one of the great Superman stories. I'm sure you can read it online. But those are just some. I love
which one of your picks? I like a lot of your picks, but what one I really love? Savage.
Yeah, Vandal Savage.
And one of the reasons I do is because now this is going to the cartoons and stuff like that, but follow me here. Is that if I'm not misremembering this, he's the villain at the core of that one Justice League story where all the heroes are getting taken out, and they find out it's because somebody got their hands on Batman's plans to take out each of the Justice League members. And I believe that was Vandal Savage that did that, if I'm not mistaken.
I think.
So if you used him, that also opens up the door to use that awesome storyline. Where it's really Batman taking everybody out because it's his contingency plans for everybody.
Yeah, and I like the fact that if you had a character like that from a storytelling standpoint, you can always do like flashbacks, kind of Highlander-esque, where you go back into the character's past thousands of years ago, if you want, hundreds of years ago. You can show his history with mankind, and you could do stuff like that if you wanted to. So.
Now, again, and then you brought up a guy. The reason I didn't put Deathstroke on my list.
We talked about that yesterday.
It's simply because it's not because I don't think he that would be a good one. It's just that since I already mentioned it the other day, because if I didn't, I definitely would have put Deathstroke on this list. Yeah. He would be a fantastic Deathstroke.
Yeah, it's like Joe Manganiello was going to be great as Deathstroke.
He would have been so good.
Yeah.
I love that.
I mean, you do get that glimpse of him at the end of.
Yeah, just a glimpse.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck had plans for that, man.
Dude, one of the greatest. I want to read that script. If anybody has that, send me your screenups.
Oh God, I would
send
love
me
to
that
read
Ben
script.
Affleck. I want to read that script so bad. Ugh.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. There's clearly, when you have an actor the caliber of Henry Cavill, there's a lot of characters he could play, but who are some of the immediate ones that come to mind for you? Don't bother mentioning Superman or variations of Superman like Red Sun or what, he's done Superman. They're not going to put him in a Superman role. But what other DC characters do you think he could do? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, Superman today is becoming the first Superman film in history to cross 300 million domestically. So good for them on that. They're well on their way to crossing the break-even point. It's going to be a profitable movie. Good for them. And the movie, more importantly, though, for its purposes, huge critic ratings, huger audience ratings, which is, of course, the most important thing to it. So a lot of people have been wondering, is James Gunn going to do a sequel? Now, he has kind of hinted at before that, when next we see Superman, it's not really going to be so much as a sequel proper. But he didn't say he wasn't going to do a sequel proper. He just suggested maybe the next time we see him, it won't be in a true proper sequel. And it looks like that's the case. Because as being reported by Games Radar, James Gunn, who is very active on his social media, just apparently confirmed he is already working on a Superman 2 script. He's already moving forward with it. They're saying, of course, James Gunn has seemingly confirmed the Superman sequel, when it says James Gunn has apparently just confirmed a Superman sequel will be happening, despite originally hinting that a straightforward follow-up wasn't going to arrive. On Threads, James Gunn shared with a fan that of what he is up to right now with Superman promotion having wrapped up. And James Gunn said, what am I doing now? I'm doing Peacemaker press and sequel writing. When another fan asked, when are you going to tease the sequel to Superman? Gunn replied, I just did. So, number one, let's get this out of the way off the top. Could be crossed wires, right? Let's just put that out there that it's possible that when he said, I just did, maybe he was responding to another thing previously and not about the question about when are you going to start teasing the sequel to Superman? So that it could be cross wires, could be something else, right? But many, including the outlets and myself, see that as James Gunn is just saying, no, I'm working on the script. And again, that's not necessarily contradicting what he said before about next time we see Superman is not going to be necessarily a sequel per se. Well, that could be because it could be another film before we ever get Superman 2. He's working on Superman 2. He could plan on work on it for the next 2 years. We don't know. But at least he's going to get something that Henry Cavill never got, which is an actual Superman sequel, which I always wish Henry kind of would have gotten at some point. Now, look, with the success that this film has had, with the audience responses, with its critical acclaim, clearly it's going to do what it was designed to do. The next one's going to make more money than this one did, because the first one went over so great with the audience. The next one's guaranteed to make more money. How much more? Don't know, but it'll make more. So anyway, Rob, everything I'm saying so far is positive, but I do have a major concern. And I've brought this concern up before, and I'll bring it up again. I am not the world's, but one of the world's biggest supporters of James Gunn having taken over DC.
Sure.
I was thrilled when they announced it. I don't think they could have done a better choice, particularly with him and Peter Safran working together. Couldn't be more thrilled about it. I think he's the guy. I love Superman. I thought it was absolutely the right choice. Like when a TV show is starting, they'll bring in a heavyweight director to direct the first pilot episode to sort of set the template. And then every episode has different directors after that. I thought it was brilliant to have him direct the first movie himself. I thought that was a great idea. But at some point, and I say this with the greatest of love and affection, at some point, we need James Gunn to buckle down and focus on the job at hand, which is to be the co-CEO and president of DC. We need less of his attention on specific individual projects and more of his attention on all the projects that are happening. He needs to take on more the role of the shepherd creatively than the individual filmmaker. If he wants to be an individual filmmaker, God bless, man. Be an individual filmmaker because you're awesome at it. But now with Superman in the rearview mirror and having been a complete success, it's time for you now to start dedicating your time to working with all the other filmmakers that are bringing all of these things to think, and stop being an individual screenwriter. Stop being an individual director. Direct the Justice League movie when it's time for it to come out. Sure, yeah, step back into the director's chair. But Rob, I need James, as a massive fan of James, I need James focusing now on the job at hand and not just being an individual filmmaker. He's supposed to be the CEO of this company. He's supposed to be the guiding shepherd. I need him focusing on that. Still love the idea of Superman 2, but I'm apprehensive about it because I need him doing his job. I need him to do his job, Rob. Anyway, you hear about this. Anything surprising or what's jumping out at you? What's your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, in a way, he is the. I think what you're saying is important because one of the great things about we saw in the MCU is they had kind of their story group that at least through phases 1, 2, and 3 were guiding the direction of the overall Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it worked really well. And in a way, that's kind of James Gunn's job. Creatively, he's got to know which direction is this universe going to go in. And of course, he is also the final arbiter of these scripts. And as we know, there's a Teen Titans script being written. There's a Wonder Woman script being written. There's Clayface is going to go into production soon. There's other people probably writing scripts we don't even know they're writing. So there's a lot of material to manage that is all got to go through his creative sensibility. So he's got to be working with those writers. He's got to be working with developing like what new movies are happening, and in terms of their look and their feel, and what eras are you going to go for the costumes. I mean, they made James Gunn making that the Kingdom Come S. You know, that was a big decision.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a really big decision, and I'm sure that was his decision. So there's a lot of decisions like that. Like, what era are you going to concentrate to make this character look like they're from? You know, because James Gunn his Superman is untraditional. You know, starting with that S, with the high collar, the new 52 collar, it looks different than any other iteration of Superman. These are also creative decisions that affect the overall universe that he's going to probably have a really big hand in. So I think you're right. On the other hand, you know, maybe he sits down and writes for 2 hours a day, which I can see, and he incorporates it into his day. If he like gets into work at 7 a.m., gets his coffee and writes from like even 7 to 9. And then he goes about his business, starts his morning. If he's, I don't know if he's that structured, but if he is, you know, in 120 days, if he writes a page a day, maybe he'll have a script in 3 months.
See, here's the thing where let me give you an example, because I see some people in live chat saying, John, he can do both. Here's the thing. I remember, let me just tell you a little story here, okay? I might have told the story before. I can't remember. One of the most fun things I've ever gotten to do in my career was when Marvel asked me to be the moderator for the Avengers Age of Ultron press conference, where I got to be the moderator at the table with all the stars of the film.
Sure.
It was a great day. Now, about 15 minutes before the press conference starts, I'm standing out the back door, right? I'm standing in an alley on the Disney lot, just kind of getting some fresh air, waiting for the thing to start. And up comes zipping Kevin Feige on a golf cart. He's got somebody's driving the cart for him, and he's on a phone as the cart pulls up to the door. He gets out, comes up, says hi. And I'm like, and I say, you look a little frazzled. And I remember this was back when Marvel was making like 3 movies a year, right? He was at his wit's end. He said, like, you wouldn't like it. Like this morning at this time, I was doing this on this Ant-Man project. At this, I was doing this. And because he's also trying to manage all the films that are coming. He was working like 18 hours a day. And he wasn't making, as a director or writer, anything. Anybody who says you can do the job of the CEO of a big studio and you can do this other thing too, doesn't understand the job of being a CEO of a studio. If you're doing that job right, it is all consuming. If you're doing your job as a director right, it is all consuming.
Yes, it is.
You've directed films before, Rob. How much free time did you have as you were directing your films?
None. 0.
If you're doing your job right,
you don't have enough time.
Yeah, you simply do not have enough hours in the day. If you're doing your job right as a CEO, that is all consuming. If you're doing your job right, and again, I am 100%, and I was right from the beginning, all on board of James Gunn writing and directing the first film, and maybe even doing another one later down the road. But I'm sorry, I don't believe any human being. I'm not picking on James Gunn. You know I love James Gunn. I'm a massive Gunn fan. But no human being can properly do their job as the head of a studio and properly do their job individually making films. You're going to have to be in one world and then turn to your co-CEO and say, I need to step out for a bit while I do this. Then for 6 months, you're more focused on that. Then you come back to your job, do that job for 2-3 years. I need James Gunn governing the whole thing the way Kevin Feige shepherded the MCU. And I'm sorry, I just don't believe, and this isn't a knock on Gunn, because I don't believe there's any human being who can truly do both of those jobs at the same time. I just don't believe it can happen. So I don't know. Again, listen, I trust Gunn. I trust James. He's the man. I really need him focused on being the studio head for a couple of years, but that's just me. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? James Gunn has apparently just revealed that he is currently working on the script for Superman 2, which a lot of people didn't think we'd get for a while. And just because he's working on the script doesn't mean it's going to come in the next couple of years. It might be 5 years off. Who knows? Whatever stands out to you, whatever you guys think about this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that all down, it's time for us to move on, of course, to the most important part of our show, which is taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we will bid adieu to writer, director, producer Robert Meyer Burnett. Great job as always, my friend.
I will see you. Well, I guess I'll see you remotely tomorrow.
I will see you remotely tomorrow.
But great show today.
And now, guys, let's get to your input here, shall we? Jonathan, what do we got up first?
Anonymous asks, how does one submit a question for a spoiler talk segment stream? Are those super chats or how do you do that?
By watching live. You have to be watching live and submit a super chat. Now, here's the thing. Last night, I did part 2 of our Fantastic Four open spoiler discussion, but I was not taking any more super chats because the reason we're doing part 2 is because we had so many super chats come in. Just to give you a sense of context, we did a Fantastic Four open spoiler discussion. I think it was 3 hours long.
It was long.
I think it was 3 hours long. And so then we had to end because we had been going for 3 hours. I took all the remaining super chats, put them in a document. The remaining super chats was 29 pages. That's just of the super chats we didn't get around to in the 3-hour live stream we did. So I decided to do part 2 and do it live so we could still have a chat board open so we could all talk. But I did not have super chats open because we're not taking any more of those questions because we already had like 29 more pages of them to get through. So yeah. So normally when we do an open spoiler discussion, we'll do a live stream and we'll have the super chats open, and that's how you get those in. But you got to be there for part 1 and you got to be watching live, and that's when you send in questions for that. Good question. All right, what's next?
Jack. Hey, John and Jonathan. I've been wanting to read Project Hail Mary, but hadn't found the time. I always forget about audiobooks, though. Thanks for mentioning that that's how you're reading it, because I loved it. Well, that's how we're listening to it. 6 hours in, and I can't wait for this movie.
Yeah, listen, it's just so convenient because, Ann and I, we go out for like a 35-minute walk every night, do about 1.5 miles this loop every night, and sometimes together, sometimes separately, whatever. But it's a great time. I just put it on. I often have these long drives I have to make. I mean, we live 45 minutes to an hour outside of LA. I have these long drives. So just pop in the audiobook and listen to it. It's such a great, convenient way. I mean, nothing beats actually having the book and reading it, but for people who are more time crunched, the audiobooks are a great way. And I am loving the Project Hail Mary audiobook. Absolutely loving it so far. All right, what's next?
We got Jack again. Shout out to Rob for all the hype he's been giving it. Oh, this is Project Hail Mary. I don't tip that often, so wanted to do another because I literally count down the minutes before 1 p.m. Central Standard Time to listen to your show while I'm at work.
Oh, thank you, man.
For all you do.
Oh, thank you for that. That's awfully kind words. Thank you so much. All right, what's next?
Anonymous. I understand the Australian ban after watching Adolescence. It's only stopping kids from making an account. They would still be able to use YouTube through their parents, who will be able to monitor what their children watch, unless they're smart enough to delete their history. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, we talked about yesterday on the show. We don't often go outside of strictly the bounds of movies and TV shows. But there was a really interesting story yesterday that pertains to YouTube, which is, of course, where our show lives. We are on YouTube right now. And it's this thing about how Australia is going to be implementing a social media ban for kids under 16. Originally, that was not going to include YouTube, but now they've decided to include it in YouTube. We had a discussion yesterday, and I'm sure there's many more discussions to come. A lot of different thoughts to have on it. It is going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. But listen, there's no doubt there are damaging effects of YouTube on kids. But there's also a lot of positive effects on kids too. So what's the right answer? I don't know yet. I haven't nearly thought about it enough. I think most of us haven't thought about it enough, and too many of us are too quick to jump to a definitive opinion before really considering it.
The answer is, I got the answer.
What's the answer?
It is an age limit. It's an age cap, over 25. And we all just need to be adults and go about our business and get off social media.
Yes, over 25.
Yeah,
not allowed
done.
to be on YouTube anymore.
Any social media.
That kills our show. We're done. All right, what's next?
All right. Sam Fisher. I agree with you, John. When it comes to if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, you're fired for something like work or special event. But this was a weekly family dinner. Ben and Johnny could have given them extra time. Well,
Yeah, you could have.
but they weren't upset. They were just like, here's the thing. This man, Reed, is probably functions on routine. And so when something like that is off, you know it's a big deal that it's off.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, there's a lot of things they could have done with it. I still just really like the way it was all portrayed, personally, myself.
Yeah.
And so I was really comfortable with it the way they did. Now, is there other things they could have done? Absolutely. But I like the package we ended up with. All right, what's next?
That's what she said. Okay, I had to get that up. Stitchin versus Minions Superman brought me back to that 8-year-old kid in 78. I was in awe of the set designs, and I was in awe of the set designs for Fantastic Four. You guys rock. Lastly, this would make a great topic before the weekend. From the Wrap, Neon offers free couples therapy to together audiences.
Listen, it is not going to be a big box office hit. Go see Together. I said it's a great date movie. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be a date movie. Just get some friends together and go see Together. It is a wonderful film. It's a small budget, aside from some visual effects, small cast, just a couple of locations. It's just a really creepy yet funny, entertaining, scary. It's just a wonderful little film. Please, guys, make plans. Go see Together.
I mean, we don't get many opportunities to do really good horror double features. You could do Weapons theoretically and Together.
Yeah. Now, again, I haven't seen Weapons yet, so I can't attest to how good it is, but everybody's saying it's great.
But it's a good chance.
Yeah.
Anorak the All-Knowing. Hello, all. Love Fantastic Four. I plan to go watch it in 40X. It would be my first 40X experience. Also, I'm 75% done with my new Doctor Doom 2.0 cosplay.
Nice.
And this year I'm going all out. LA Comic-Con. Let's do it, John. September 26th.
Yeah, Ann and I are going to go. We are going to be at LA Comic-Con.
Nice.
We're definitely going to go. Like, Ann is so committed to making sure we go back to Comic-Con. Many of you guys know Ann is the vice president of this big international marketing company, and their head offices are in Pittsburgh. And she's going to be out in Pittsburgh, but she literally had to move things around to make sure she could fly back to LA and be back here in time for LA Comic-Con. And last night, it's funny you mentioned the Doctor Doom. Last night, she mentioned she wanted her and I to go as Doctor Doom and Sue Storm. I suggested we make a giant cell phone with a picture of Reed on it, like the time, and then a picture of Reed on the cell phone, and the little status message on the bottom saying, "Ignore incoming call." So Sue hanging out with Dr. Doom and says, "Ignore incoming call from her husband." Love it. So whether or not I actually am able to get together a Dr. Doom cosplay, I don't know. What I will most likely do is the total lazy man thing, and I'm proud of it. Hop online, see who's selling a good Dr. Doom costume.
There you
Maybe
go.
I'll just get that. All right, what's next?
All right. We got concerned with regards to the Australian ban. This will give parents the control and supervision on what kids watch on YouTube, similar to Disney using their parents' account. As a teacher, I think it's about time. We have a mental health epidemic crisis.
Well, here's the problem, though. It's not going to let parents control what their kids watch, because all the ban is able to do is to stop kids from creating an account. You don't need to have an account on YouTube to watch YouTube videos. You can go onto YouTube on a totally unconnected computer that has access to the internet, doesn't have your account. You can go onto YouTube's website and search any video and watch anything you want.
Anonymous, yeah.
You just can't create an account. Now, that will prevent kids from being able, you can't leave comments.
Yeah, like
you won't have like recommended videos, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, kids are still going to be able to watch YouTube. The ban is just, it just prevents them from being able to do certain things by not having an account. All right, what's next?
Amin says one of three. Let's see. I did some digging and wanted to share some data. The last time we had 3 comic book films in a row, each with at least 80% critic and 85 audience, was all the way back in 16-17. It was Doctor Strange, Logan, Guardians 2.
Oh, that's a nice run.
We almost had 6 in a row because there was Wonder Woman, there was a gap, and then 3 more, or 2 more. But Wonder Woman got an 83. Back then, there was no verified fan score, so Wonder Woman probably would have scored 85%. It's taken about 50 I can't believe 50 comic book films is a thing to think about, and 8+ years with Thunderbolt Superman F4 met that mark. How significant is this? Looking at what's coming with Supergirl, Spider-Man, Doomsday, I think we're entering a new silver age of comic book films.
Yeah, that is too bad about the Wonder Woman thing, because Wonder Woman's wonderful.
That
Like, whatever you think about Wonder Woman 1984, that's irrelevant. The first Wonder Woman movie was really good. Thank you, Patty Jenkins. That movie was great. But yeah, man, it's just that we've lived with such mediocrity the last bunch of years. It hasn't been all terrible because there's been some really good stuff. It's just there's also been a lot of terrible stuff. It's been hit or miss, hence me saying it's a lot of mediocrity. The comic book landscape of movies the last bunch of years has been hit and miss. To have 3 comic book movies in a row that I absolutely adore, Thunderbolts, Superman, Fantastic Four, especially coming out of Captain America, Brave New World, which really was very disappointing to me, is really great. Now, does that bode well for the future? I really hope so, because it looks like DC is off to a great start. Fantastic Four didn't just feel like a really good Marvel movie. It felt like it was Marvel firing on all cylinders again, which hasn't felt like in a long time. And we'll see where we go. Like, we got Spider-Man coming. We've got Supergirl coming. I mean, even on the TV screen, I can't wait for Peacemaker season 2.
Uh-huh.
We got Lanterns coming. We got Doomsday coming. I mean, here's hoping that this streak of 3 is a harbinger of great things to come. Here's hoping. All right, what's next?
We got Anonymous who says, hey, John, when do you think we will get a teaser for the Michael movie? We haven't seen anything yet, not even an official poster.
Well, the movie's now, what are they saying? April 2026?
I think so.
So it's still a ways off before we get a
gotta-
trailer. Probably close to Christmas.
That'd be a good time to drop it.
Maybe November. November, December, I think we'll get trailer shot. For now, it would be far too early.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Christian, is it crazy to say that Michael will make more money than Spider-Man? I'm not estimating Michael freaking Jackson. The amount of people that's going to see this film is going to be crazy.
Okay. I said this the other day, but I'll say it again. If Bohemian Rhapsody, which was great, can just about hit the $1 billion mark, because it got that close. It got really close to hitting $1 billion. I think a lot of people are drastically underestimating how much money a Michael Jackson biopic is going to make. It's going to make a stupid amount of money, guys. It's going to be a ridiculous amount of money. But more than Spider-Man? That I don't know. Because the last Spider-Man movie, I don't expect the new Spider-Man movie to make as much as the last one, but the last one came that close to making $2 billion. That is the rarest of clubs. Because there's 6 films in history in the $1 billion club? Let me just pull this up quick. I just want to make sure I got this, that I have this properly.
2 billion, you mean?
What's that?
2 billion?
Yeah. $2 billion club. There are indeed 6 members.
Nice.
You can bring this up here. So the 6 members are, as you can see there in the number 7 spot, Spider-Man No Way Home got close. Spider-Man No Way Home made 1.9.
Yeah. Wow.
Then you have, on top of that, you got the 6 members. You have Avengers Infinity War, Star Wars The Force Awakens, Avatar The Way of Water, Avengers Endgame, and Avatar. This is your 2 billion. Oh, Titanic. I missed Titanic there. This is your $2 billion club. Half of the $2 billion club is James Cameron.
Yep. The other is, then it's just Star Wars and Marvel.
Then it's Star Wars and Avengers.
And you know what? They're all Disney.
And all of them are Disney. Well, Titanic wasn't at the time,
but Fox
it is
now. Yeah.
Okay, so that means the ceiling for the new Spider-Man film is $2 billion.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean it's going to get there. It doesn't even mean it's likely to get there, but that's the theoretical ceiling, I think, is the $2 billion mark. While I think Michael is easily going to join the $1 billion club, I don't know that I think its ceiling is the $2 billion club. So I will say, while Michael will be a ridiculous success, I think Spider-Man makes more money. Now, listen, Michael could come out and be one of the greatest films of all time, and the next Spider-Man movie could suck. If that's the case, then yes, Michael can make more money than Spider-Man. But all other things being equal, I think Spider-Man makes more money than Michael. All right, what's next?
We got a two-parter from Amin. Last time we had a great DC film and a great Marvel film in theaters at the same time was 2017. Wonder Woman was June 2nd. Spider-Man was Homecoming, July 7.
Oh, is that really? They opened that close to each
So
other?
within 4 weeks. Guardians 2 also came out May 5th, so you could do Guardians 2 Wonder Woman on the other side of that. And then the last time we had two great comic book films out at the same time was 2023, which was Guardians 3 and May 5th Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, again, it's rare that it's happened in the last bunch of years. It's rare. For a second there, I thought maybe Wonder Woman. You're saying Wonder Woman, and what was the other one with it? The one.
Let me see. Guardian. So so Wonder Woman and Homecoming, or you could have done.
All right, so
Guardians 2.
I thought
Wonder
you were saying
Woman.
they both came out in June. One on June 2nd, and one on June 7th. But that was like that was like 5 weeks separated.
Yeah.
Yeah, still, yeah. Again, it's been rare the last 6 or 7 years. It just doesn't happen that often. So we got to celebrate it when it does. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got Dan the Fan. Hey guys, depending on who liked these movies, Batman v Superman and Civil War are 6 weeks apart. Also, I love Fantastic Four and Superman. They are very different in tone, but here's the thing. Insert picture of thing.
But here's the thing.
You didn't think I was going to do that, did you, Dan the Fan?
You didn't. You caught me off guard with that.
Then we got Swole Day Walker.
Well, let me address what he's saying there, though. The problem with Batman versus Superman, and you did qualify by saying depending on who liked it. I like that movie. I'm not going to lie. I like that movie quite a bit. Both the original theatrical and then the little extended cut they did. Which, the problem with Zack Snyder's extended cuts is that he doesn't actually re-edit the film. He just drops a bunch more into it. But at any rate, I really like Batman versus Superman. But much like my love for Man of Steel, which I think is better, just because I love it, I still have to acknowledge it didn't work for a lot of people. So even though I hold Man of Steel very close and dear to my heart, I have to acknowledge that, hey, you know what? That movie simply did not work for a hell of a lot of people. And the same can kind of be said of Batman vs. Superman. I like that movie a lot, and I'm unapologetic about it, and I'll like it to the day I go. But the reality, though, is just because I loved it doesn't change the fact that, generally speaking, it didn't go over well with a lot of people. And so you can't really put it in that conversation. All right, what's next?
Swole Day Walker, do you think Marvel is going to retcon the whole anchor being premise introduced in Deadpool and Wolverine? I figure it could cause big storytelling issues if continued. Just my thoughts. Also, Henry Cavill as a gritty Green Arrow would be very interesting. Interesting is that he actually wrote this before we covered that segment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he wrote that in before I mentioned the Oliver Queen thing. That's cool. No, I don't think Marvel will retcon the anchor being thing. I just don't think Marvel will ever mention it again. Listen, I passionately, insanely love Deadpool and Wolverine. The anchor being concept just didn't work. There's too many logic holes in the whole thing about it. So, like, well, what happens? It's like, so why is a universe completely healthy and fine before the anchor being is ever born. Like, so, like this universe had no anchor being for 2,000 years from the beginning of its recorded history. Thousands of years, perfectly fine without an anchor being. Oh, and then one shows up and now it's bad if it doesn't have the anchor being. Anyway, so I don't think they're going to come out and specifically retcon it. I just honestly don't think they're ever even going to mention it again. All right, what's next?
Dylan says, "Hi, John, longtime follower here from Bolton in the UK.
Oh, thank you, man.
Assuming The Naked Gun is a good film and a financial success, do you think there will be a sequel? If so, how long after do you think it could be announced? Brilliant work as always, Campea Crew."
Well, listen, I'm going to go see Naked Gun tonight. So guys, keep
cool.
your eyes open tonight on the channel for my out of the theater reaction to Naked Gun. I'm very excited about seeing it. Here's the thing. Naked Gun, I don't think they should do a sequel to it. Because I think once you do it once, the shtick can be a very good thing. Shtick is not a bad word. If you use it right, it can be great. But the shtick is now done. It's played. And I just wonder if doing a second one is trying to spread a tiny bit of butter over too much bread. I just wonder. So, but again, if this movie makes $500 million, which I don't think it will, but if it does, well, hell yeah, then you can expect them to announce a sequel pretty damn fast. Because I don't expect it takes them long to shoot this movie. I really don't.
This is not a high budget film.
Yeah, this is not a high budget or high concentration film that they need to do. All right, what's next?
Willoughby Sting just saw that Superman it will have its digital release August 15th, only a 36-day release window. Blech. Why not another 2 weeks for the rest of the summer? Is there really so little money to make after that it's costing more to keep it in cinemas?
Well, listen, you know what I think about theatrical windows and how long I think they should be. That being said, at, what do you say, 36 days?
Yeah, it's really...
That'll be longer than most movies keep their things out.
It's a shame.
Yeah,
well, it could still be in theaters, but they're releasing it on digital as well.
Yeah, they're releasing on digital. And by the way, I don't believe that's when it's going to be on HBO Max.
No, that's to buy it VOD.
That's going to be if you want to drop $24 and buy it on VOD, you'll be able to do it, but it'll still be in theaters. But again, we're just living in an age right now where we got to be grateful for 36 days. I mean, listen, it should be. First of all, they never should have changed it from a 90-day window. That never should have been changed. The studios have been killing themselves because they thought it was a good idea, but really they've been killing themselves. At minimum, it should be a 45-day window. I really think at minimum it should be a 45-day window before it's available on anything else at all. So it's still going to make money in theaters when it just comes out for digital purchase, but I think they're leaving money on the table. I really do. All right, what's next?
We got the Daily Prophet. Hey, what's up? I wish they did a Stanley cameo in Fantastic Four, like some type of advertisement, like they did with the Boston Deadpool and Wolverine. Also, what do you think needs to change in order to bring people back to the movies like before 2020? Well, it's building back. There's a lot of things John has covered, like what theaters can do.
Yeah, I mean,
movie window. You know,
I can't sit here for 3 hours and go in depth.
Yeah.
A lot of the basic things are, number one, increase the quality of the product again, particularly the big budget tentpole film product. I'm sorry, all due respect to all those out there who are into cinema and whatever, but unless you have a healthy crop of the big budget spectacle tentpole films, smaller films won't survive either.
Nope.
You have to, if you want the indie film to be successful, the indie realm to be successful, if you want the mid-budget films to be successful, if you want all that, you have to have thriving, successful, big budget. And so I think raising the quality of the big budget tentpoles is one of the things. Getting costs associated with going to the movies under control, not beating customers over the head with 30 minutes of ads. I mean, we've talked a lot about it. I'm not going to relitigate it all right now, but there are definitely a lot of things that need to happen. All right, what's next?
Christian says, I didn't know the Michael Jackson biopic has Universal in on it. This is going to be massive. And how would you feel if people started singing in theaters while seeing it? You may not be able to stop them. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Lionsgate film, I believe. Is Universal might be involved as the distributor.
Sure.
I'm not quite sure how much Universal is involved, what their involvement is.
Let me look it up.
That's only because I haven't really looked into it. I just know Lionsgate is I think, the studio behind it.
Yeah, Lionsgate is the distributor, so let's see.
Yeah, I would get a little annoyed, to be honest with you, if people started singing in the theater, because I'm here to listen to this actor perform it. I'm not here to listen to you perform it.
Also, unlike a musical where that song is going to be fully performed because it's a musical, it's part of this is a biopic, so you're going to be like, it's going to be concert footage. It's going to be like something's playing on the radio while like it's the #1 hit or whatever. You know, it's stuff that's diegetic, non-diegetic. It's cut in the middle to like, we don't know how the editing is.
It's not like
Wicked, where you're doing the whole song,
musical numbers. It's musical numbers. Like, this is going to be a concert scene or whatever,
and they cut wherever.
Yeah. And by the way, I love the fact that Wicked had designated sing-along screenings. Yeah, that's great. But yeah, if I'm going to go see Michael, I'm here to hear the guy do the song. I'm not here to hear like Willie the half-drunk poke neck beside me screaming it out. Like, so yeah, it would probably pretty annoy me if they did that. Anyway, what's next?
Petro. Howdy, John. I know it's early, but do you think our first look at Avengers Doomsday will come as an exclusive teaser that will only be shown in theaters in front of the upcoming... Oh, someone else asked this. Spider-Man. I know it's early, but wanted thoughts.
Well, yeah, because Spider-Man wouldn't be...
December, right?
No. It's got pushed into... Doomsday is coming out in December.
Right, yes.
Spider-Man is what? May, June, July?
Let me see.
And there's May, June, July. It's in there somewhere. If it is June or July, which I see, people are saying July 31st.
Oh, there you go.
August, yeah, that's 5 months out from Doomsday. That would be an appropriate window to start putting out a first teaser. Mm. Marvel doesn't tend to do that, though. Marvel doesn't tend to do that. They generally tend to drop their stuff online first. But, I mean, Spider-Man would be a good one to do it, and 5 months out for a big, massive film like Doomsday is an appropriate window to start marketing. So it's possible. I wouldn't put money on it, but it is possible. Mm-hmm. All right, what's next?
Rumor Hide Gaming says, Runner Hide Gaming, sorry. Do you feel the success of F4 and possible soft reboot of the MCU could affect James Gunn's DCU plans? No. He has his own. What does one have
to do with the other?
No.
One has nothing to do with the other.
Reacting to what another studio does is like the worst. No, he's
doing his own. Yeah, that's a quick way to the grave.
Yeah.
If you are making your plans based on what somebody else is doing, you're dead already.
So then they're the drummer and you're just the lead guitarist?
No, James Gunn. I mean, the question... I mean, why not ask, do you think James Gunn's success with Superman is going to influence how Marvel does things? No, they both know what they're doing. Kevin Feige and James Gunn know what they're doing. They've got their plans. So no, one has absolutely nothing to do with the other. The only thing is, as James Gunn and Kevin Feige have both publicly stated, they want each other to do very well, because the better DC does, the better it is for Marvel, and the better Marvel does, the better it is for DC. So they all want to succeed, but neither of them are going to follow each other's lead. So no, there's no influence there at all. All right, what's next?
Andrew, hey, John and crew, do you think Fantastic Four has a chance of being nominated for Best Music at a Oscars? Can't stop listening to the score.
No. Somebody asked me that the other day. I really don't think so. No, I say that as somebody who has been humming bum, 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 like for months now. Every day, I catch myself humming that. But do I think it has a chance at an Oscar? No, I don't. I really don't. I don't think it will. And I don't necessarily think it should. It's very, very good music. And that score might be the best score. Like that one piece, the main Fantastic Four theme, might be the single best theme in all of the MCU. I really mean that. I think it might be the single best theme. But you're not going to get nominated for one piece. And I don't see it coming in the top 5. I don't think it will. All right, what's next?
John McKinney, who do you think should be the villain in Superman sequel? Please, for God's sake, no General Zod. Lex Luthor, I get it. He's Superman's archenemy, and you need to use eventually General Zod. Please, no, he's not as important as Lex. Please use someone else.
Why? Why? We haven't had a General Zod in this universe yet. Look, whenever somebody asks me who should be the villain in the next X, I always give the same answer. I don't care. You know why? Because it doesn't matter what villain they use next. The only thing that matters is if whatever villain they use, they write him or her really, really well and make the character compelling and give them a great story hook. My example for this always goes back to this. Without argument, one of the most beloved, celebrated, and greatest comic book villains of all time is Doctor Doom. They had Doctor Doom in 3 Fantastic Four movies. That didn't help any of them. Just taking a great character and putting him in there, unless you write that character great, give them a great story hook, and give them a thorough, great, well laid out narrative path, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Black Panther used a villain that 99% of the movie-going public had never heard of. Never heard of him. They had never heard of Killmonger. Did that matter? No. You know why? Because they wrote a great character and gave him a great story hook and made the character compelling. So when you ask the question to me of who should be the villain in the next, it doesn't matter who the next villain is in Superman. Got to write him great. If you write him great, you're fine. But I would also say there's absolutely no reason in the world it shouldn't be General Zod. We have never had Zod in this universe. It's because others have done him. That's fine. Who cares? If James Gunn does decide to use General Zod, he is a great antagonist for Superman. And I'm sure James Gunn will write a very unique story hook for him that will make him unique from the other Zods that we've had. So I really don't care what villain James Gunn uses, but I don't think there's any reason in the world it shouldn't be General Zod. Anyway, that's just my kind of take on that. All right, what's next?
So Fry says, Dexter, whose ratings are enormous, has no right being this fun. I love it when creators take criticism on board. They've managed to fix the tone, make the show fun again, and make me like and root for Harrison, which were my 3 big issues with New Blood.
Yeah, again, I hated New Blood. I hated that. But man, what was the prequel called again? Dexter First Kiss? No,
yeah.
It was Dexter.
So it's New Blood, and it was
Original Sin.
Yes.
That's what it was. Original Sin was great. I still have not started watching the new Dexter. I'm very excited to start watching it, but I haven't started watching it yet. I kind of wish Harrison wasn't even in it, to be honest with you. I'd rather just forget the kid and just get back to Dexter, but I don't know. Maybe they're using him well in the show. We'll see when I start watching it. Hopefully that'll be soon. All right, what's next?
We got Trade Federation. Hey, John, first time tipper. I decided to read PHM.
I'm assuming, guys, please don't write in acronyms. I'm going to assume you mean Project Hail Mary.
Yeah, because Rob finished the whole audiobook in a weekend.
Wow.
Super glad that you're reading it before watching the movie. Would love to see a quick reaction video after you finish that last chapter.
Yeah, I probably will. I'll probably do a quick little review, quick short 3-minute review video once I'm get through the book. I don't know how long it's going to take me, but once I get through it all, I'll probably drop a little reaction to it.
Cool.
All right, what's next?
Brian Garcia. Hi guys. What kind of bat suit would you like to see for
Don't care.
Yeah, who cares? But I'll continue. DC's Batman to add a new flair or throwback to this look. What if he gets black underwear briefs? I'd like to see him move around more as a cloaked figure, like a shadow with limited suit exposure.
I really don't care.
I couldn't tell you because I didn't really imagine Battinson's bat suit when I saw it, and then when I saw it in film, I loved it.
Yeah, my only prerequisite is when I instantly look at it, the moment I look at it, I instantly recognize it as Batman.
Yeah.
That's my only thing.
There were so many iterations in the comics.
So many. Now, granted, much like Superman, I don't like the external underwear. I'd rather not have that. But the reason I never give any crap, like if I look at a costume, I think it looks great. I go, oh, wow, that looks great. But here's the thing. The reason I don't really care about what the costume is because it has absolutely zero impact on how good or bad the movie is. The example I often use for this is the CW show Black Lightning. I love that show. But that is by far the most god-awful, stupidest looking costume I've ever seen on the screen. It's completely ridiculous and awful. Did it take away even one iota of my enjoyment of the show? Not a bit. Not a bit. And I thought the costume was completely terrible. Completely awful. At the same time, I loved Sam's costume in Captain America Brave New World. I loved it. Did that help it from being a bad movie? Nope. So yeah, really, I don't really care. Like, I hope when I see the costume, I like it. But at the end of the day, if it's something that isn't really going to impact how good or bad the movie is as a whole, then I generally don't really worry about it. But the one thing I will say is I would prefer it if they not have the underwear on the outside. That's my one request. But Superman had the underwear on the outside. I hate that. And I love the movie. So yeah, doesn't really affect it too much.
You know what? He had the underwear on the outside in the Arkham Asylum video games. Never once bothered me. You know?
All right. And, well, listen, he had the underwear on the outside for most of the existence of Superman.
Yeah.
So, all right. What's next?
So we'll have some members here. Questions from members. King Daddy.
Just so those of you know, we have channel members. You can be a channel member yourself if you'd like. And then most days what we try to do when we have time is we ask our channel members just to send in some free questions, and we try to answer a bunch of those before we end our show. All right, let's get to our beloved channel members.
We got King Daddy Goat. Says, hey, John and crew, happy Thursday. We've got a week until Weapons is released, and I've seen nothing but good reviews for it. I've avoided clips and trailers to keep me as fresh as possible. What are your anticipation levels for this? Thanks, Spring of the Filthy.
Very high.
Yeah.
And I have been watching the clips, and I'm glad I have, because they've been increasing my excitement level. Like, again, we talked about earlier on the show today. As of now, I'm sure it'll change. As of now, it's got a 100% rating. That'll come down. And it's not just that it's got a great rating. Like, everybody's writing about it is like, this is like really good. So I'm ridiculously excited for it.
Also, Tor Berglia Tor just gave a Campea gift. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Tor. Another Tor.
I guess Ronnie received it. So there you go, Ronnie. Welcome. Joe Howland says, are you concerned? No, Joe Howland. Hey, John and crew. Hope your day is going great. I was wondering if you've seen Ice Cube's new movie on Amazon, War of the Worlds. Me and the wife saw it last night, and let me say I loved it. Wanted to hear your thoughts on it. I have not seen that.
I have never even heard of it. Is it a remake of War of the Worlds? I can't imagine that it is. Like, that is something that would have gotten more advertising, wouldn't it?
I got an image here. Ice Cube, War of the Worlds, your data is deadly. So it's not an alien thing.
Okay, so it sounds more like a...
Maybe it is. I don't know.
Hacker...
Look at him looking all like a... Look at this guy, man. With the beard and getting the gray, touch of gray.
I like Ice Cube. I like Ice Cube a lot. So, like, it's just some kind of a hacker, social media, privacy data sort of thing. Is that what it's supposed to be?
Well, no, I guess there are, because if this is from the same thing, that's what it's showing in the caption. There's like aliens. So I guess War of the Worlds. It is. It's
an actual remake of War of the Worlds?
Yeah.
I had no idea they were doing that. Like, none at all. Oh, all right. Learn something new every day.
Yeah,
did they say it's a Netflix thing?
Amazon.
Amazon.
Yeah. And
usually Amazon's pretty good they're not like Netflix. Like, normally they're pretty good at advertising their content and their upcoming stuff. My goodness. Okay, no. And I really like Ice Cube, so I'd like to see it. Anyway. All right. So no, I hadn't even heard of it until this moment. All right,
let's see. We got Dominic, who says, are you concerned at all that DC seems to be taking the opposite approach to Marvel in that their TV shows and HBO Max look to be heavily tied into the larger DCU and will even introduce key characters I assume will later be in films?
I'm always concerned whenever any cinematic universe is trying to closely tie in their television stuff with their movie stuff. I think that's a recipe for disaster. It can work for a little while, but eventually it'll cause problems that you simply cannot overcome, and it can get bad. Now, it all depends. We haven't really seen them do anything yet. You can say your shows are that universe adjacent. You can say that, sure, it's a part of it, but not really tightly connect them and tightly or make it feel like there's homework that needs to be done. For example, Rick Flag Sr. is in Creature Commandos. Did anybody need to watch Creature Commandos to watch Superman? Not at all. Is anybody missing something really important to Superman if they didn't watch Creature Commandos? Again, not at all. So as long as James Gunn does that, you can make all these shows and say they happen in the universe, but as long as it's not done in such a way that somebody has to watch that
Right.
in order to be able to watch the next movie, then I think they'll be okay.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right, here's our last one from our members. Z Thomas says, what do you think will be the highest grossing movie of the year? Do you think
That's easy.
Yeah.
You don't even have to go any further. It's Avatar.
Yeah. And it will dethrone Lilo for sure.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Avatar is easily the only question about Avatar is about whether or not it's going to get $2 billion.
Yeah.
That's the only question. Of it being the number one box office film of the year, nothing, nowhere near in doubt. Nothing even shadow remotely puts that in doubt. It's just a matter of whether it's going to be $2 billion. So yes, 100% the highest grossing movie of 2025 will end up being Avatar, Fire and Ash. All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show a part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so very much for your support. Big thanks again to Robert Meyer Burnett, our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
See you guys later.
My name's John Campea. Once again, guys, keep your eyes open on the channel a little bit later tonight for my out-of-theater reaction to Naked Gun. I'm looking forward to seeing that. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.